One summer morning, when I was still in high school, I woke up to find my sister sick on the couch. When I had asked her if she'd eaten anything that day, she told me no. So, being the good, caring brother that I am, I decided to make her breakfast. Nothing big, just scrambled up a few eggs for her and gave them to her. What I didn't realize was how much this impacted her and how much my decision influenced her, because the next morning when my parents and I woke up, she had made us all breakfast. When we asked her why she did it, she said, "Oh, well, Scott made me breakfast yesterday, and I just wanted to pay it forward." Hello. Today, I would like to talk about being a giver and how acting more selflessly can help expand your network and gain your influence. I didn't realize this at the time when I made her eggs, but I had accidentally stumbled on to Adam Grant's philosophy of being a giver, or giving to truly just give and help others. He talks about this in his book, Give and Take, and classifies everybody to be in one of three areas: being a giver, being a taker, or being a matcher. Now, a giver, like I said, is just being a giver to help others succeed and not expecting anything in return. Being a taker really just means that you are being selfish and that you are taking for, your own success and don't care about the success of others. And being a matcher means that you fall somewhere in the middle. You like to live your life as everything being equal. If you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. And within his book, Adam argues that being a giver will get you farther and will get those around you farther, and you'll all get farther and succeed more together. One of the cases of this that he talked about was George Meyer, who is a very distinguished writer, but flew under the radar in Hollywood for many, many years before many of his accolades came to fruition. Meyer has been a writer for many years and has written for many shows, some of which are Saturday Night Live, Late Night with David Letterman, and the widely accredited The Simpsons Show. He's accredited with shaping the comedic sensibility of The Simpsons way before he was even really ever being credited as a writer for the show. And when he was asked why he did it, he said, "Well, I never looked at myself as being the writer behind all the ideas. We worked in teams. It was all of our ideas. It was all of us collaborating together, and it was never just me." He gained and used his influence by being a selfish person to work with. And that's why, even though he flew under the radar for so long, he is now widely known today as shaping the longest standing animated comedy show in American television. Another case of this is Heidi Roizen. Heidi Roizen, much like Meyer, has a very distinguished career and has co-founded and was the CEO of Teamaker. It was the president of the Software Publishers Association, and was also at one point the vice president of worldwide relations at Apple. She didn't acquire these positions overnight. She worked hard for many years, networking, gaining knowledge, and ultimately gaining influence. Heidi simply liked to get to know people and liked to become good friends with good quality, talented people, as she likes to call them. What made Heidi so successful was her determination and willingness to cultivate these meaningful relationships, which she could potentially leverage in the future if she needed to, or to help further her own goals. It was these decisions and all of these different things that she can now put on her resume that led her to be a mentor capitalist, as she calls it. And what this means for her is that she would serve as an outside board member for various startups, which expanded and grew her network even more. It was here she began to connect like-minded people from these startups with people in her already extensive network, and had a large amount of success doing this since she had cultivated these relationships so well. Heidi used her network to add real value to both sides, the startups and the people in her connection group, and would always make sure that before she would go ahead and actually try and get the people connected, that she saw an obvious connection for both sides. And most of the time, they would always hit it off. She was also known to throw casual dinner parties where she invited many of these people to allow creativity and innovation so people could expand their networks in here. But a big problem that could have arose with this was what's called the proximity principle. And that's the principle that states that people want to network and be around like-minded people. So bankers are more likely to try and network with more bankers, and athletes want to network with more athletes. This can ultimately diminish the value of a network, because spending time networking with people that you wouldn't have otherwise had a chance to network with is truly the ultimate goal of networking. You don't want to limit yourself. You want to be an information broker. You want to be able to reach out into various networks and reach out into various connections. And that was something that Heidi had done so well. So if the proximity principle is true, why was Roizen's dinner party such a success? It was the same reason that George Meyer had success, especially flying under the radar for so long. It was because everybody saw both of them as friends. And it was these friendships that lead me to my final point. If you want to gain influence, win friends. This is truly why Roizen likes to keep her dinner parties less formal and do things like cook herself instead of cater, and keep them not business casual, but tell people to come in casual clothes. While the people she would invite were from her professional network, there were also people that she likes to associate with and wanted to get to know outside of the business world and get to know on a much more intimate level, more of that friendship level. This is how she learns who she can send to people in her network when she's working as a mentor capitalist at her current job. People will follow the leads of those around them. If you're rude and you don't want to work with them, people are going to reciprocate that to you. However, if you show them kindness, they will pay it forward, much like what happened when I made my sister eggs that summer morning. Humans are social creatures. We heavily rely on the people around us to show us how to think, how to speak, how to feel, and how to act. And that's why Heidi and George were so successful. They gave more than everybody else, and that ultimately led them to being some of the most dominating people in their industries. Thank you.